Doctor Who, Haunted by an Angel, written in red by Isaac Travers. Deep within the citadel of Gallifrey was the headquarters of the Celestial Intervention Agency, or CIA for short, not to get confused with the Celestial Intelligence Agency. This organization's mission was to protect Gallifreyan society from any creature or individual from destroying the known fabric of reality. Two of its operatives, Mono and Frida, were in the process of reanimating one certain individual to help them out in an important assignment. The individual in question was none other than the Doctor. The Doctor was in suspended animation, frozen inside a glass chamber, which he was in for a certain amount of time. It was unknown why he was there. Maybe he was on trial yet again from one of his many trips of interference. With the press of a button, Frida activated the Doctor's chamber, bringing him back to life. Once the process was completed, the Doctor searched around the room, wondering where he was. "Excuse me, you two," said the Doctor. "Do you have the slightest idea where I am?" Mono gave the Doctor his famous fedora, which he wore proudly. "You are on Gallifrey, deep within the HQ of the CIA," Frida explained. "You seem to have been frozen for almost 30 years due to..." The Doctor then interrupted her for a moment. "Let me guess, I'm on trial. Again. Can't I at least, for 3 minutes, not have to testify for my actions? I haven't done anything wrong for the last 3,000 years. Doctor, we're not here to put you back on trial, but to ask if you can go on a mission for us," said Mono, hoping that the Doctor would at least listen to him. "Very well then," said the Doctor. "What's the situation?" Mono touched a panel on the computer screen, searching through the many time anomalies that have been going on. Then, he stopped upon a file titled Operation Haunted Angel. Frida lectured the Doctor for what his mission was to be. "As you can see here, Doctor, there appears to be a time fracture within this part of Earth, somewhere in the not-too-distant future." The Doctor then interrupted Frida for a quick moment. "Yes, I can see that, but what is the cause of all this?" "It appears that there is something inside this abandoned house, and seems to draw out anyone that goes inside. And we need to find out what is inside that house, and what is causing people to go missing, or being misplaced in time." The Doctor, eager to help, but mostly wanting his freedom back, agreed to help out the CIA agents with their little problem. "I accept on one condition, that you will let me use my TARDIS to arrive at my location," said the Doctor. Both Time Lords agreed to the Doctor's request. "It will be done for you," said Mono. And in that moment, the Doctor went back inside his TARDIS as the two agents remote-controlled the ship to make its arrival on Earth. Back on Earth, just outside the abandoned house, 4 students were unpacking their bags from the back of a car. The students were Jerry Cornwell, Jen Roberts, Chris Price, and his cousin, Lily Newman. "Couldn't we've chosen a house that was a lot more fancier and not in ruins?" said Jen in disdain, as she was not impressed with the place. Jerry then replied, "I know it may look like crap, but it was the cheapest house we could find on the market. I think it looks really nice. Maybe with a bit of a paint job and some cleaning up, it'll look beautiful," Lily said, as she was fascinated by the uniqueness of the house, as it reminded her of something from a Tim Burton movie. Just as the 4 students were about to enter the house, a mysterious figure startled them from behind, giving them a strict and important message. The man spoke with a whisper in his voice, as he had seen all this happen before. "Before you even enter that house, I warn you that there is a great danger that takes young souls like you out of this world." "But what do you mean by that?" Lily said, as she was intrigued of what the man was telling her and her colleagues. "You see, young lady, once you go inside that house, a stone creature will come after you, and when it does, you never return alive." The old man then left the students alone as he walked away from the house. "Don't try to listen to those nutters," said Chris. He then gave Lily a pat on the shoulder, telling her that everything was going to be normal. "Nothing bad is going to happen to us. "I promise." Leela then gave a smile at her cousin, as both her and her friends went inside the house. Once Jerry opened the door, the 4 students went inside the house, which had now been in shambles. The walls were exposed with cracks, parts of the furniture were in tatters, the staircase had crumbled into pieces, and bats were hanging up from the ceiling. Jen was horrified of the scenery of the place. "My God! This place is even worse on the inside! I don't even want to last a week in here," Jen said in disgust. "Try to not let that bother you, Jen," Jerry said to her. "We'll only be here till the semester's over, and we'll have a chance to fix up the place." Everyone started taking their bags and placing them each into their own separate bedrooms. Lily was exploring the garden, which had many trees and flowers all in a row. And then she spotted a statue of an angel holding its hands upon its face like it was weeping in sorrow. Lily turned to tell her friends of her discovery when all of a sudden the angel was in a different position. This time, its hands was not covering its face. Lily was fascinated by the statue on how it moved whenever it was not being seen. A lot like how she played red light, green light on the school playground. Not sure if the angel would move again, Lily started to walk backwards, slowly towards the door. She told Chris all about the angel and how it moved each time when she wasn't looking at it. Chris told her it was only a house ornament that the former owners forgot to move out. However, in reality, the angel had been there, waiting for its next victims. Later that night, it became stormy and dark as the rain fell upon the house. It got so bad that when there were leaks on the roof, the students each had to grab any buckets and bowls to stop the leaks from happening. Once everyone cleaned up the house, the students all went to bed, hoping that it would be better in the morning. However, it wasn't until 10:30 p.m. when Chris and Lily woke up to the sound that was beautiful yet irritating. The TARDIS had finally arrived on Earth. The Doctor walked out from his box as he got drenched in the pouring rain. So the Doctor made his way quickly to the house and knocked on the door multiple times, waiting for a reply. Chris heard the door knocking and decided to go and see who it was. "Who could be coming here at this time at night?" Chris questioned to himself for a moment. Once he opened the door, he saw the presence of a man wearing a black suit with a plaid collared shirt, and most importantly, was wearing a fedora, which the man wore with pride and dignity. Chris started to talk to the man. "Hello, sir. Can I help you? You know it's extremely late at night." The Doctor immediately told the young man that he was here for a reason. "Indeed there is, young man. I'm looking for something that somehow is inside this house without any of you noticing." Chris still did not believe who the Doctor was or even knew his name, so the Doctor had to come up with an alias in order to get some answers. "If you're really desperate, my name is Dr. Quentin, and I'm looking for this thing." The Doctor then pulled out a projection from his pocket and showed Chris an image of a weeping angel, the same one that was at the back garden. "I think the best person you can talk about this is to Lily," said Chris. The Doctor seemed to be interested. "I believe that this Lily is a relative of yours?" "Actually, Doctor, she's my cousin." Lily heard the two men talking downstairs and came down to see what was going on. Chris then introduced the Doctor to Lily. She told the Doctor everything about the angel in the garden and how it moved into a different pose. The Doctor immediately alerted Lily what the creature was. "Miss Newman, I inform you that your friends are not safe here. That statue outside in the garden is a weeping angel. They're creatures made of quantum lock stone. And what you must not do is to never turn your back on them, as they can displace you in time, or worse, snap your neck. But most importantly, don't blink." All of a sudden, the back door opened, and the angel was in front of it. It seemed to have moved while the Doctor was talking. Doctor, I think we have an uninvited guest," said Lily, as she was frightened for her life. Chris immediately knew that Jerry and Jen were still upstairs sleeping, and he had to get them out of bed some way. "Doctor, there are 2 people still upstairs. One of us is going to have to get them up before the angel does." The Doctor then told Lily to come with him upstairs to try and wake Jen and Jerry up, as Chris stayed downstairs to keep an eye on the weeping angel. Chris was in complete peril as he was not sure how long he could keep an eye on the weeping angel without looking away. He tried to walk back slowly but tripped on the carpet, and in that instant the weeping angel caught up to him this time, with its fangs showing out. Chris immediately made a run from it and went up the stairs where Lily and the doctor were. Chris closed the door behind him, and finally, after a close encounter with death, he made it out alive with his friends. However, the doctor was not pleased. "What the hell were you thinking? You could have gotten yourself killed by that angel!" Chris then snapped back at the doctor, blaming everything on him. "Well, it's not my fault that there's a homicidal statue roaming over the house! What even is this, a trick or something?" The two men started arguing with each other to see whose shell was going to crack first. Lily walked toward the two men and told them to stop. "For goodness sake, you two! None of this is going to be resolved if you keep fighting with each other." The two immediately put aside their bickering, and then Lily turned towards the doctor. "Now, doctor, I've only just known you for a few minutes, but I want to ask you this. Will you get us out of this alive?" Lily said, with a worried look on her face, as she was hoping to get away from this horrifying moment in her life. Suddenly, Jen, who was still asleep, got an instant shock of horror and woke up. Then she screamed out one word, "Jerry! Where'd he go?" Everyone in the room wasn't sure where Jerry went. Then the doctor soon realized, "Oh no, he's gone downstairs to get something, and the angel's downstairs with him." Deep downstairs in the basement, Jerry was getting a few things from the fridge, mostly a packet of Skittles, salt and vinegar chips, and a nice cool can of Diet Coke. Just as he was about to walk up the stairs, the lights went out. Not having his phone with him, Jerry had to get a flashlight to see where he was. He then searched around the room and saw the angel statue. Then the lights turned back on and then blacked out again. But the third time, they stayed on. The angel was now in front of Jerry, and he immediately freaked out and ran up the stairs to reach the door. Jerry was trying everything he could to get the door open from the outside. The lights continued to switch on and off as the angel was getting closer. But it was too late. The weeping angel had snapped his neck, leaving him dead on the floor. Back upstairs, everyone heard a neck being snapped and a man screaming. Jen immediately remembered who the voice was. "That's Jerry's scream!" And so, the doctor, Lily, Jen, and Chris belted back downstairs and through to where the murder had happened. Lily then turned on the lights and saw Jerry's body on the ground, dead, with his neck broken. Jen screamed at the sight of her friend's corpse as Chris started to examine his body to check if he was still breathing. "He's completely dead, doctor," said Chris. "This angel sure did take him out by surprise." The doctor then told Chris, "That's what happens when you come face to face with the lonely assassin. It's a nickname for them." Whilst Lily tried to calm Jen down from what had happened, the doctor noticed a calendar on the wall, saying that it was February 2049. Or maybe it was that the house the angel had used was luring people from different time zones. The doctor then asked Lily, "That's strange. With you being from the future, it feels that the technology still comes from the 2020 decade. Honestly, doctor, the future sometimes isn't exciting all that much," said Lily. The doctor realized something. That's the thing. The angel has been in this house for many years. It didn't just show up. It was living here all along. It's not the first time it's terrorized anyone. Look at every object in this house that has like a figure or something on it. Chris then noticed that Jerry's body had vanished and was shocked as somehow Jerry ended up in a picture on the wall, which was a portrait of Jerry in 1917, now wearing a tuxedo. Lily managed to figure out all the pieces to this puzzle. This all makes sense. The angel has somehow taken certain individuals and having them in old photos around the house. The doctor joined in the conversation, and the weeping angel has been doing this for quite some time. Now, because you three weren't the first to come here, it had turned out that the house was abandoned since 1907, when the angel first arrived. It had spent all its years, killing off anyone who entered, or even displacing people in time till they lived to death. Jen couldn't take it any longer with the chaos. "Can't you see it? This place is a living nightmare! That angel could come after us! Lily, are you coming with me?" Lily decided to stay back with the doctor and Chris, as she felt safer with them. "Jen, we need to stay together. We are going to get out of this alive." All of a sudden, the lights went out, and then Jen gave out a scream as she vanished. Once the lights turned back on, Jen was gone, and now was in the portrait alongside Jerry. "Back upstairs, now!" yelled the doctor as he, Lily, and Chris belted up the stairs all the way to the living room. Now it was only Lily and Chris alive in the house. The doctor was very determined to make sure that these two were to survive from the chaos that the weeping angel had placed upon them, but also for the doctor to get his freedom back from the Time Lords. "Now, this may be a really bad time to say this, but there has to be something we can do to stop the weeping angel," said Lily. "Maybe the angel wants me to be taken. If I go back in time, I can find a way to get Jen and Jerry back again." Lily was in shock about what Chris was thinking. "Please, Chris, don't do this. There's no family left for me back home. We can figure something else out." The doctor was just standing, trying to figure something out, and did not know how to describe what Chris's intention was. "Chris, I'm not sure if you will do this will be a good idea, but it's your choice if you want to do it." Chris knew what he had to do and told Lily to remain calm. "Doctor, I want you to look after Lily for me and make sure that she feels safe." Lily was horrified that Chris was willing to give up his life for the angel, as she would never see him again. Lily tried to run after Chris, but the doctor grabbed her by the arm to stop her. "I'm sorry, Lily. There's nothing I can do. He's made his choice." Chris made his way to the hallway, and the angel was in front of him. Once he closed his eyes, the weeping angel got closer to him and touched him. Chris had vanished on the spot and soon appeared on the portrait alongside Jerry and Jen. The angel had seemed to have won, but somehow did not seem to be interested in taking Lily. But once it saw the sunlight rising, the angel then shriveled into dust, leaving nothing but grey ashes on the carpet. Lily went up to the angel's ashes and kneeled on the floor. She then started to cry as she was all alone by herself, with no friends or family beside her, only with some dust on which her cousin was close to. The doctor looked at Lily in pity for her. He felt horrible for what had happened, and for his actions of letting a family relative die in front of her eyes. The doctor went up to Lily and gave her a hug. "I'm really sorry for what happened, Miss Newman," said the doctor in sorrow. "Thanks, doctor. Chris was a good person. He was taken away too soon," Lily said as tears were falling down her eyes. Then, something came up into Lily's head. "I want to come travel with you, doctor. There's nothing here for me anymore. I want to learn how you live your life, and how it's so different from mine, and everyone I used to know." The doctor boldly accepted Lily's request, and she walked outside the house and right through the TARDIS doors, experiencing an amazing sight she had never witnessed before. The doctor's blue box was bigger inside than it was on the outside. Once the doctor closed the TARDIS door, the ship dematerialized from outside the house, vanishing into thin air. Whilst the TARDIS was vanishing, an anonymous figure was viewing it all from what had happened through a magic sphere. "My word, Doctor, you clearly are a foolish man when it comes to playing around. Now the chess pieces have been precisely placed for a special game, because everything that I know has fallen into place."